afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to your place of chill or place of madness, depending on the day, the Coffee Company. I'm joined here with Mr. Kuva on probably our favourite day of the year, which is World Chocolate Day. So happy World Chocolate Day to everyone. And we're just going to have a chill stream. I've got the old lo-fi on. Hopefully, actually, people can hear it. I don't know if anyone can hear it. But we're going to chill out.
I have a confession to make, Ben.
Yeah?
I'm not a fan of chocolate.
You're not a fan of chocolate? Here we go. There we go.
Savoury all the way for me.
Oh, bloody hell. You got to like something chocolate, Kuva. You're already ruining
Yeah, occasionally. Something like a Snickers or something. Yeah,
that's a chocolate bar.
I think I can go without for very long periods of time, but occasionally get a little craving for something.
Sometimes you need it. We do have a biscuit of the day today, which Kuva will be very happy with. We've got the Lotus biscuit with chocolate. Before we have this, I'd actually need to make myself a coffee. This is what this is going to be the coffee chat, but I'm just going to not care.
Fair enough. I'll stop playing some games or something.
Yeah, play some games. It's all chill out.
Okay, bit of Saturday night
Saturday morning cartoons, except it's Thursday and it's with us. Morning or afternoon even to Amir. Big up Amir. Shalom Achi. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Hopefully you're having a wonderful day. How are you doing today, sir? Miss Ellie is in the chat saying hi Amir. Hope you're well. What a great show. We all love the Coffee Company bed just to tune in for our daily chat. That's what we're here. It's why we have us chatty people to talk to. Mr. Fullball, big up Fullball, big up. Even with your slightly weird views on Mr. Tongian Dumbele, he should get out. Big up Fullball. Saying long later Spurs. Here we go. Loan with no option to buy. That's a good buy, I think. Not that this is a football show, but we might talk about that eventually. Mr. Carl Simpson, afternoon, lovely people. Big up, Carl. Big up, big up. Hopefully you're well as well. Mr. Ian Ferguson, big up, sir. Big up. The Crispy Cockerel, afternoon, guys. Big up as well. A view from the South Stand, afternoon, Marlon. Big up, big up. Marlon's a great bloke. Get over to the Hotspur Hood and a view from the South Stand, great guy. Moondog, big up Moondog. Hopefully you're well as well. And Ishak Tarafdar saying it looks like confirmed about the signing of Longley. It's a great signing. Before we get onto the chocolate talk, what is your feelings on the Longley signing, Keith?
I'm a bit puzzled why there's no option to buy on that because if he works out, wouldn't it be nice to just make it permanent at the end? They could hold us to ransom this way.
It makes absolutely no sense, but oh well. You've sort of thrown my plans under the thing. Say you don't like chocolate, Kuva. We're going to have to make up some answers.
No, it's all right. I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Definitely chocolate.
Is there a lot of feedback happening?
What's the feedback? Is that the music or the...
No, I could hear my own voice coming through then. But
oh, really? Okay. I'm going to turn that down and I'm going to leave that. Is the feedback still there?
Seems all right at the moment. Yeah. That seems okay with it.
It's got I've turned it up on my monitor, so now I've turned it down. How is everyone doing? We've got a couple of chocolates to go for, which I should have. If only I could pass them through the screen. I've got some Viviani. I don't know where this is from. I don't know where it's from. Don't care where it's from. I bet it's delicious.
It's Italian.
Might be Italian. Who knows? But it's in German as well. So... or the Netherlands. It's from the Netherlands, I think.
Oh, right.
And we've also got one of the best UK chocolate brands, Tony's Chocolate. Big up Tony's Chocolate. This is a brand new flavour as well.
Never heard of it.
These are what's it called? Hipster brands of chocolate.
Ah, right. That'll be why then.
But they're great.
Chocolate that's just too young for me.
Big up, Chris. Big up, Chris in the chat. Hi, all in chat. Hello, hello, hello. Before we get started, what is everyone's favourite brand of chocolate in I can hear myself now. What is everyone's favourite brand of chocolate? or favourite confectionery, because we're gonna move it because everyone likes the sweets, don't they? Whether it's the rosy apple or Terry's hipster brother Tony. Yep, makes sense. Makes sense. Oh, we've got Mr. Daigle is in the house. Big up, Daigle. How are you today, sir? Happy National Day.
Yes, happy National Chocolate Day. Fantastic. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right. How are you guys and everyone in the chat?
Good here. Good here. Big question then. Where is Simba?
Where is Simba? He is in the living room, but I'm sure he'll be here at some point. I can blackmail him at any point I want. We've got the biscuits, his treats here, so it just takes one shake and he's here.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. Afternoon, all from Carl Higgins. Afternoon. You have the ghost of Woolwich, Arsenal's trophy winning team's crying Cuba at the crap they are seeing at the Woolwich Stadium. Not chocolate, but fair enough. Leave the comment up. It's correct. So might as well talk about it. Give me a Bounty Bar or a Flake. What's your favourite chocolate, Brian?
Definitely not Bounty Bar. Definitely or coconut. The only thing I can have coconut in is a curry. I get obsessed back home with Dime Bars. I absolutely go mad over Dime Bars. I do love my chocolate, but I'm more a savoury guy. But I've become a bit of a. There's mate. The chocolate out here is incredible.
There we go, Ben. You're getting outnumbered here.
Finally,
it's all about the savoury.
It's not World Savoury Day, lads. It's World Chocolate Day.
I can offer a retro perspective because obviously I loved chocolate when I was a kid, like everybody else does. Well, almost everybody.
Did you guys ever get to go to the Cadbury factory back in the day? It's the best day out ever.
No, but I will tell you one thing. A lot of people here always say it. Whenever I go back to England, they say, Brian, do me a favour, bring me back some Cadbury chocolate, because the Cadbury chocolate from back home is 1,000,000,000% better than the Cadbury is here.
It's got more milk in it.
Yeah.
Chocolate pretzels. So that's savoury. There's some savoury for you boys. Chocolate pretzel was a bit of salt in there.
Well, you can say also I love them at home anyway. But you're talking about pretzels. Is Reese's peanut butter cups?
Oh,
one of the greatest inventions ever made, putting those two together.
Cadbury Dairy Milk from Stuart.
My kids love them.
Oh, they're incredible.
They're absolutely their favourite thing on earth.
I had talking chocolate as well. One thing I will say is whenever we go to Niagara, didn't take Brad Matthews there, but there's a Hershey's World. So you go there like the M&M World in Leicester Square, but there they do the best chocolate milkshake you will ever taste. Made by Hershey. Oh my god, it's incredible.
I don't like Hershey's though. Hershey sucks.
They're not bad. They're not bad, but their chocolate milkshake is incredible.
I've never liked Hershey's chocolate. For me, it's just bitter. Ian's got the good idea. Twix and Crunch bars. Anyone played Tonic Trouble?
Crunchy. I love a crunchy.
You must have played Tonic Trouble at Cuba. You ever played Tonic Trouble? Doesn't like N64 games.
No, I don't remember that one.
It's a Kit Kat. What is wrong with this?
Yeah. It's all about the Kit Kats and Paul Stewart.
Kit Kats and Paul Stewart. I mean,
no, does do things like do you remember Texan bars, Brian?
Yes.
Does that count as a chocolate or a toffee, do you think?
Oh, that's a tough one, man.
Covered in chocolate?
It's covered in chocolate, but
it's a chocolate bar then.
But it's very hard, chewy toffee on the inside.
You got to remember how many chocolates have changed their names as well, like Snickers and Marathon. There's quite there are loads. I can't remember.
That's all of them.
No, Topic was something else before it became Topic, I think. I'm sure there's a few. I'm sure there's a few more. Oh no, but you got like Starburst and Opal Fruits. Yeah. They're not a chocolate.
Stuart, yes, that's saying it's a chocolate toffee. That's just being a fence sitter, Stuart. Is it a chocolate or is it a toffee? It's a chocolate toffee.
Oh, controversy early in the day.
Exactly. I heard it's quite the day for controversy back home.
Nonsense.
Raider, big up one.
Nothing happening here at all, Brian. No news whatsoever.
No.
Yeah, nothing breaking well, mate.
And it's live, apparently. Yeah. I don't know where Bob is. I sent him the link. If he wants to come in and
Brian,
yes,
basically
sir.
all that news feed you're seeing on your phone, none of that.
Okay, none of that. Just chuck it away.
Yeah. Just let the batteries cool down a bit for a day, and then we'll have some proper news instead of all this breaking stuff on world events and
It's boring stuff, really. Boring stuff. Nothing to see here. They need the Nathan Gunn thing going. Nothing to see here.
What's the verdict on double deckers then?
Double deckers. Now that's a chocolate. Ilana loves that chocolate. She'd never had one till she came, and she was obsessed with them.
That for me, that's like a Rolls Royce quality chocolate bar.
Yeah, now you mention it. Double deckers right up there with Dime Bar and Crunchies for me.
I've got to mention Bobby K because he loves his chocolate. I brought him back to Yorkies. Whisper bars are his favourite.
No, Yorkies are. He asked me to bring. Yeah, he asked me to bring back a couple of Yorkie bars, which I did. So whenever I see him next, which should be very soon,
he can pick them up at the airport in about 3 weeks or something, can't he?
No, they were in my hand luggage. I don't know why, but yeah. So I have them all the time.
Yeah. What is the Yorkie bar situation out in North America? Did they get rid of the?
There is none. There is no Yorkie bars out here.
That sucks, doesn't it? Is that because they're not politically correct? But they've removed the slogan, haven't they?
I have no idea why, because I've been here for 4.5 years now and never seen one. So I don't even know if they were here or whatever.
That's impossible.
Do you remember the Cadbury Boost, no biscuit, but coconut? It was well lush, much better than version than Bounty. Also, hello all, double deckers dipped in coffee. That sounds great, actually. We've got to do that. Chocolate covered biscotti fire. Yep. We still haven't signed Spencer Longley. Apparently, it's a here we go. So
it is a here we go from Longley, and Spurs have removed their bio, so it's going to be announced today.
I should be on this stream as I'm a chocoholic. Kimber, you're always welcome. I can send you the link, Kimber. Finally, someone that wants to talk about chocolate. My brother George was a chocolatier and had his own chocolate company called Le Chocs. That sounds great, actually. He made luxury bespoke chocolates. Big up. Norwegian chocolate. This one, you must have Norwegian chocolate. What is the Norwegian chocolate thing?
I can't remember what it's called. All I remember is on all my trips over to see my cousins, my auntie, what some of the regular things was just we'd sit down with a glass of Coke, we'd have a few chocolates, and then my favorite snack to go with it at the time is something called lefse, which is it's sort of a sweet bread type thing, and it's great if you spread a bit of like goat's milk cheese on the top of that, or no, not goat's milk cheese, maybe a bit of cinnamon over the top, something like that. It's just a nice little snack that goes along with any drinks. But the chocolates were always great. They're really sort of creamy. I thought perhaps it is goat's milk in it as well. I don't know.
Juan is saying lefse as well. Yep, he's right. Yeah. Vic lunch. That sounds bloody tasty. Milky. Amir saying what a panel afternoon chat. I should send the link to Amir. I can do that. If you want to come on, Amir, I'll send you the link. We can talk some chocolate. Because the chocolate where he's at is bloody delicious. I haven't had it in years.
Yes. Do you know what? One of the things about Pesach is I used to love it when it came in because we got to have to do the kosher chocolate milk. Remember all the bars you used to buy? They were banging.
Yeah. What's the main brand out in Israel? I can never remember what the name is.
Oh, mate, it's been years since I've been out there. Hopefully me and Alana will be out there in 2 years' time. Hopefully quicker.
What is the main brand out? I can never remember. It's the one with the cow on it. It's not...
Well, hopefully Amir will come on or answer in the comments.
Yeah, you answer. I've sent him the link, so he can come on and talk chocolate. It's a very relaxed stream today. This is back to the old school coffee company streams where everyone just falls asleep. Except,
I'm just looking it up, and it's saying Israel's most famous chocolate is just called chocolate by Elite, and cow
that's
chocolate
it.
by fans.
Lee. Although I will say, when I lived in Israel, I stayed on a world, or not a world fair, but Israel famous kibbutz called Yod Vatah.
yeah.
And they are basically the ones that did they had the biggest dairy farm in Israel, and they were known for making the best chocolate milk. I'm a chocolate milk connoisseur, Niagara here, but literally all the chocolate milk in Israel came from this kibbutz. So we had unlimited on tap chocolate
Is that
milk.
Choco in the bag, right? The Choco.
Yeah.
It's the best stuff ever. It's like you cut it open, ice cold, absolutely delicious. I miss that stuff. Speaking of which,
I think this is part of a larger discussion as well. I reckon all countries in the world should be judged on the food, not anything.
Oh yeah, they should be. The world would be a better place if we talked about food instead of the shit we have to talk about.
So I love it. Whenever traveling abroad, some of the best memories are always that little bit of food you've never had before. And it's
I'll tell you what, if you were to do that, one thing I will say, Canada kicked England's ass for food. Like, hands down.
Is that because Canadian culture has stayed rather than become too multicultural? Not that
No, I mean, here is
multiculturalism. But we don't have an English cuisine in here anymore. It doesn't exist. It's gone.
Well, no, I'll tell you what it is as well, but it's like I said, the only food that is not better here than back home, which you'll know how much it kills me, is a curry. That's it. And when I say that, you could go for a steak meal in England, one of the best, and here, but the quality of the beef they get here and everything is just literally, it's night and day. Night and day. And Ilana even said to me, Chinese, when she lived back home, she didn't mind some Chinese, but she said, wait till you come to Canada. Oh my God. It's just a different world.
I know this is a very off topic from the chocolate show, but I'm going to do it because I can. Do you have Chinese food on Christmas Day?
Yes.
You do that? Yeah, but
mate,
I don't do that personally.
Mate, I know. I can tell you, I've never seen anything like it in my life. Obviously, Christmas Day back home, we don't celebrate it, but all my family used to get together because everyone's got the day off work, so they have got work the next day. So it's a good day to just have a meal together and spend the whole day rather than just the first night of Hanukkah and then everyone's got work the next day. And that's what you see. When we came here, Jewish people on Christmas Day fill out the cinemas. And then go to a Chinese restaurant. That's Christmas Day here in Canada.
I think it's not a UK thing at all because Chinese restaurants aren't open on Christmas Day.
And neither are the cinemas.
No, so we can't actually do that. So we do have to just do the usual turkey and potatoes, which is every Shabbos meal ever. If you've ever had a Shabbos meal, it's just turkey and potatoes, which is bloody delicious.
You do turkey and potatoes on a Friday?
Yeah, do chicken, turkey, roast beef.
Chicken, yeah. Turkey only at Christmas.
Any form of red meat and potatoes is a Kaufman meal. I mean, it's one thing I always get annoyed about. If I don't come home and there's a chicken soup on Friday night, I think, what the hell's gone on? What the hell's happened? I think, who's died? Who's died?
I'm still getting over Brian proclaiming Canada like blows us to pieces in terms of food, and then puts the caveat at the end, except for curry. That doesn't matter. I mean, come on. That's like saying, this tailor fits the best suits in the world, but he does have to chop your hands off, though.
Chillin' is Saturday morning, Stuart. Chillin's always Saturday morning. Did you ever do chillin' properly? Your family didn't have a blech, did you, Brian?
No, but my nan, God bless her, used to make it regularly and was absolutely superb. Happy World Children's Day, everyone, or Happy World Jewish Talk Day. It's become that. This is what that stream is now.
It's because no one's talking about chocolate. So let's just talk about Jewish food. Every day is Jewish food day.
It already covered Jewish chocolates already, really, isn't it?
I think that's what might have led us down this path.
Need to find more. I should have just called Kim. I should have called Kim and asked her to come on the stream. She's got the link. Well, it's Bob has the link.
There you go. What is Bob
Bring on
got on?
Kimber.
Yeah, what you need to do is have a paid runner for you, Ben, and then the chat decides which food should be sampled on screen. You just send them out to get it before the end of the show.
That's a plan. Or we just come to the coffee company and all eat the same food. You just have the Paul Stewart chocolate off again. Big up Paul Stewart.
Definitely. Yeah, big up Paul Stewart. Happy birthday, big fella.
Is it his birthday?
I don't know. Probably is someday.
There's
a Paul Stewart in the world somewhere celebrating his birthday today.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're joined by Mr. Amir. Hello, shalom.
Shalom. How are we doing, Jen? How are you,
What's up, brother?
Good here, mate.
I heard all the talk about chocolate and couldn't stay away.
How are you doing, Amir? You good?
Very good. Just came off a shift at the pool, so feeling good.
It's a hard life, Amir. It's a hard life.
Is it warm out there?
Ooh, it's roasting. It's roasting at the moment. Yeah, mid 30s, I'd say. Roughly.
Yeah. It's all right out there, mid 30s.
Yeah, mid 30s is all right. It's not really too hot. Here it starts to get ridiculous when it's in the 40s.
Yeah.
The kind of
unbearable. If you ever done the Negev in 50, that's the worst.
Yeah, well, that's where I'm from originally, Ben. I'm from a little kibbutz just outside of Beersheba, so I'm pretty used to it. So moving up to this area,
what kibbutz from here?
It's called Shoval. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No, but the very first kibbutz I stayed on was River Vim.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not too far from me. That's like 40-minute drive.
It's a lovely part of the world.
It is indeed. Beautiful.
I've only experienced temperatures over the 40s when I was in Turkey once, and that was unbearable for me. Oh, brilliant scenery, but yeah, it's the first time I realised you can get sunburnt through a t-shirt.
That happened to my brother when he was in the States. But if you get any sort of water on a t-shirt, you're getting burnt. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I made the mistake once when I was in Eilat. Daigle, you'll be familiar with Eilat. I was down at the Dolphin Reef and just snorkeling. Okay. Just snorkeling away and, happy as Larry, and you're nice and cool because you're in the water. The water there is nice and cold in the Red Sea. And I just didn't realize, but my back was just out with the sun beaming down on it for like an hour straight while I'm happy in the sea. I came back and I've never had like as bad sunburn in my life. I was pink. It was, wow. Horrible.
Well, my worst sunburn in Israel was in Tel Aviv. I just spent the day on Tel Aviv beach, and literally, if I was to say how badly I blistered on my back, I looked like an aero bar. That's what my back was like. And ironically, I only got sunburned in Israel twice, and they were the 2 days that I put suntan lotion on.
It's a conspiracy theory. Where's Bob? It's a conspiracy theory. Yeah, suntan lotion makes you burn.
There you go. Only 2 days that I put suntan lotion on in 4 years in Israel and got burned.
It was upper 80s yesterday with 75% humidity. Absolute hell. Yeah, America in humidity is unbearable. Eddie's saying Asian food. It must be Chinese, Japanese, Thai, Malaysian, or any Asian. So basically all of them. There's some great stuff. Turkey, Istanbul is amazing. Great food, views. It does. Yeah. Brilliant history.
True.
And how ironic, when you get a really good tan, you look like a chocolate. Not us. Amir probably gets a tan because he's used to it. Brian might do. Me and Kuva, I bet. What's your quickest sunburn ever, Kuva? For me, it's like 5 minutes. So we went outside, immediately burned.
It would have been in Turkey. We're down Turgatrace on the sort of southwest coast, the peninsula there, and it was, as you'd expect at July, over 40, clear blue sky. Went out. I had one swim in the pool. I was only out for about 15 minutes, and I felt the tingling pinpricks on my back already. It was so intense.
Yeah, there's a problem in the UK with a lack of sunlight, isn't there? We don't get enough vitamin D out
I
there.
think it's a lack of vitamin F in our food because vitamin F stops you getting sunburn.
I think when I was a kid, I used to be outside all the time, and I'd like have a year-long tan always. But since I've grown up indoors most of the time, I'm either pasty white or pink. And that's it.
Yeah, no, I feel you there, Kuva. I feel you there. Part of the reason I moved back was the the weather out here in the Middle East and Israel specifically. It's very, very nice. Like most of the year, you do have some really unbearable months. Like August, July, it can get unbearable for people that aren't used to the heat. But then most of the rest of the year, we've got really lovely weather, and it's not like in England, like those grey days in London where it's just grey and then the sun, the sky comes out a little bit for like a second, you see some blue sky, you get happy, and then the clouds come back in. Here, when it rains, it just pours down and then it's done. Like, we're done. Back to nice weather. So I even enjoy the rain here.
Now, global warming is a thing. We now get that. It's going to be 30 all of next week in the UK, so we're all going to die.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's going to be 30 most of the week.
Well, that's the thing, Ben. I think it was 3 weeks ago. Did you have the heat wave? Was it 3 weeks or a couple of weeks ago? Yeah.
3 weeks.
So it was hotter in London than it was where I am.
Yeah,
for a good few days.
It's the only day we chose to have a barbecue as well, so we were all dying.
Yeah,
probably a silly idea.
Well, you got to remember that those 3 days. I was in the 3 days in a row where we beat the highest temperature of the year, whatever. I was in the We Are Tottenham TV studios that day, and they don't have air conditioning in there, and all those lights and cameras on you. It was ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I feel you there.
Sean, look at all these wonderful people to see himself. That's not wholesome. 70% Israeli from Ellie. No wonder.
I've always wanted to do one of those. I should do it.
Yeah, I should as well. My
Brian. Friend Laura did one of those, and she came back to me and said, Ben, I'm 1% Jewish. I was like, that's why you're mental.
I know I'm part Irish, part Norwegian, part English, but other than that, it's always interesting, isn't it? Where your DNA comes from.
We should do it. That's what you should do on one of these streams. We should all do one together. When we get all our results in, we should read them out live on air.
Who do you think you are with the coffee company?
Exactly.
It's really funny because
who the hell do you think you are?
Yeah, who the hell do you?
Where the hell do I come from?
Matt Lucas was on Who Do You Think You Are, and he had a load of Kaufmans in his family. So we found out that we're related to Matt Lucas, which is funny.
That's crazy.
I don't think you really want to be related to him at the moment. He's not what's it called? Politically correct at the moment.
He's a comedian. He's allowed to not be politically correct. That's fine.
I've missed it. What's he been in trouble for saying? Doing?
Years ago. They go back like 20 years ago to Little Britain, and it's like, he should apologise for something he did 25 years ago. It's just like, he's a comedian. It's allowed to be funny as long as it is taken as humour.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know this will shock you, but I'm Scottish and Irish. Who knew? Who knew? DNA breakdown. I love that. Can anyone guess without Googling what they call chocolate in India? No idea.
Yeah.
Chocolate.
Yeah, I'm going with bagel.
Yeah.
Because isn't chocolate a South American thing that came over from South America originally?
It is. I mean, I think just like coffee, you can grow chocolate anywhere. So there's probably chocolate, because South America and Africa were once one continent because of Pangea.
Yeah.
But maybe we're actually being, intelligent here. When it was Pangea, those two parts of the world would have been connected. So there will be a chocolate in Africa and there will be chocolate in South America. Funny how
I was right. I was right to Bob's cryptic question.
Chocolate. I've seriously found a half sibling through ancestry. Big up, big up. Hopefully they support Tottenham as well. It's all that matters. I wouldn't want to know where all my alias are. Which one?
Oh dear, Barry is a one-man pandemic.
Yes.
The one-man pandemic. Or she found me. Interesting. So
There you go.
Big up. Oh, bloody hell.
Well,
Might as well talk about Tottenham. We've gone so far off the rails. We might as well talk about Tottenham at this rate. Oh, well.
There we go. Let's do that.
What's happened, Brian? You are our leading reporter.
No, I mean, obviously, it got noted very, very early that Spurs had removed their bio.
Yeah.
So obviously, you know, something's about to happen when they do that because they always drop it. He's obviously Lengley. We've now got it confirmed.
Yeah.
The thing I think the biggest talking point, and it's the most boring one of them all, is why in God's name is Spence still not done?
Levy's doing
It was
the deal. That's why.
It was 5 million apart. Then it was 1 million apart.
Bigger.
It was 1 million apart, and then it was like, okay, so you got it down from 5 to 1. How hard could it be to move from 1 to whatever you're trying to do?
Yeah, I mean, that's Levy's doing the deal, isn't it?
Don't get me started. We'll go down a whole different way if we do that. So, yeah. All I will say though, it's very, very funny. Someone tweeted me, someone sent to me on one of my friends on WhatsApp, showed me Arsenal's new Twitter release today, which is them riding bicycles into the training grounds. That's the lack of that's the activity that's going on at Emirates right now, footballing wise, anyway.
I've heard that Chelsea have bid for De Jong from Barcelona. Is that true, or is it? I don't look at the news anymore. So
I haven't looked at Chelsea. I know Chelsea obviously, and this is the funniest thing. Raheem Sterling is going to Chelsea, although he came out about the racism and everything he was being caused or getting at what club? Chelsea. So it's just.
How much money is he get? He's getting paid like 400k a week, isn't he? Something
stupid. Oh, there you go. That's why he's going. Oh, forget the racism. I'll settle for the racism. Yeah, you've gone bad at Chelsea before. You got bad at Chelsea before because of their racist fans, and then you become a Chelsea player.
Amazing how money can just wipe away principles and morals, isn't it?
Money amnesia.
Terrible, Cooper, isn't it? Terrible.
We should do one of those. Donate £3 a month for those footballers with amnesia.
Big up Bobby K for joining the stream as always. Big up Bobby. It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know why we're not going for Raheem Sterling, probably because he wouldn't get in the team. He wouldn't come to us, and obviously 400 grand a week is 400 grand a week.
His wages.
That's the reason, I think.
What? How can he? Why has football wages gone mental? Have football wages now hit a point where they need a salary cap?
100%. The need for that was 10 years ago as well, Ben. It wasn't just. It's longer, not just now. Yeah, even longer, Kuzma. Yeah,
starts with the Premier League. That's where all the big money came in.
Starts with Shearer. Yeah, Shearer was the first big, like crazy money signing. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame because my love of the game, it comes from the grassroots level, the Sunday league, the amateur, the playing down at Power League or Pits or whatever it's called nowadays. Playing with your friends in the park after school for hours, that's where the love of the game really comes from.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with the crazy amounts of money, we're pushing team. We've seen Bury, gone. We've seen other teams like Wimbledon gone.
Yeah.
And it's just a shame. It's just a shame. I'd like to see smaller clubs fighting for titles, and not just in England. I'd like to see that all over Europe, to be honest. I mean, I like watching the other European leagues, and the German league it's a good league, but it's just not interesting. You know who's going to win it already at the start of the season, really.
Tottenham, quadruple is on.
Yeah, it's going to be too hard to bring in a wage cap now. There's no way because of all the things. There's just no way.
It's one of the things I've always said is the PFA are totally to blame. If you took a salary cap to the PFA, they would do a strike. They would strike and they would walk out. They are now the reason why money is going out, because they're saying we are the demand. We'll just go somewhere else. We'll do a Super League, and everyone wants to watch us, not the clubs, and we want to be paid stupid money. So clearly, I think the PFA needs to be reined in and said, right, you've got too much money, accept a salary cap, or you'll be banned. You have to do what FIFA was doing to the Super League teams, and just say, if you go and play in another league, you'll be banned. You'll be banned from playing international competitions. You can't play in the Champions League. You can't play in the World Cup. You're done.
Yes, because of course FIFA are the sort of bastion of.
Of course they are. The bastion of doing the right thing.
Are doing very well. Yep. No, I think if we're going to bring in something like a salary cap, you've got to say it's going to be done in say 5-10 years time, and give clubs plenty of time to adjust to that, because then you won't have the panic sort of oh no, we can't have you on the books anymore because you're on this wage. It gives the current crop of players that time to retire and become a thing of the past in a sort of organic way, rather than huge change immediately. I think for me that's the only way to really do it. Just got to be a bit patient with it.
But do you think? Oh no, sorry, Ben. Go ahead.
I'm here. You're the guest, so you go, sir.
No, I just wanted to know, Kuva, is that something that you can see being done though? Like with regards to capitalism and putting a cap on it is kind of like,
won't happen. As you said, capitalism it's the almighty, isn't it? It's unfortunately it rules everything. Money's spoiled so many sports, so many aspects of life ruined by money.
But you know what, Kuva? I won't let them take football. I won't. For me, honestly, football is one of, I know this might sound a bit cheesy or whatever, but it's honestly, for me, it's the most important sport, not just the most important sport in the world. It's the most enjoyable sport, and it's the most accessible sport. Some sports you need to pay for fancy equipment and training and all this. Football, from what I've learned and from where I've traveled to and places, just get a ball and just go and play. And you can play barefoot, you can play in the village, you can, you have so many options to play. You just put a few shirts down, shirts versus skins, and you're off.
Sheet of newspaper, that'll do for your ball. Yeah.
And I won't have them take the joy in football away, by the money. And I do think something needs to be done. And if it's not salary caps, maybe there's something we can do as fans.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Because there's power, right? There's power behind the fan bases, and not just of our own club. There's so many fans out there who are passionate about the game, and we saw that with the Super League, right? When they tried to bring that crap in, everyone basically said, guys, get out of here with this, and we've delayed it for as long as possible now. So
the Super League's going to happen whether we like it or not. It's just going to be in a different form. It's just going to be in a more it's going to be in a more acceptable form. I always said the Super League would be all right if it was like once every 10 years or something. If it was once every 5-6 years and it was just a year of the Super League and every awesome team was in it, it was subsidized by the aircraft companies and the football teams and the organizations, that would be really enjoyable. But what they wanted to do was Tottenham Hotspur versus, Bayern Munich in Los Angeles. No one could afford that. Or Barcelona versus Manchester United in the Middle East somewhere, like Dubai or somewhere. They don't want to do an idea for a Super League. But in terms of protesting, do fans have to get together and protest players' wages? Because it's now, in my opinion, football is so disconnected with the fans now that fans need to rein it in. They need to say, kids are like, this is ridiculous now. They need to rein it in. I think, do you think fans need to protest wages to maybe get this done, to show players this isn't right?
we protest bankers getting huge bonuses when the bank goes nearly bankrupt. Nothing we can do about it. I'll see it the same way with football. We've got to the point now where are fans even necessary for clubs? Because it's all about TV money, sponsorships. It's almost like the fans are just like an afterthought some of the time. It's certainly what it feels like. The change over the last 40 years for me. It's been slowly happening. The start of the Premier League, that was the turning point for me. That's when went over the precipice, and it's just all about the money. Yeah. I actually don't like the fact that football's broadcast all the time everywhere. I think it takes some of the joy out of the occasion. There's nothing to look forward to. I remember always loved it back in the 80s, and Brian will know exactly what I'm talking about. We're saying about FA Cup Day. You'd have the whole bit. The week would be an entire build up to the FA Cup final. Every day, little bits on there. The whole morning of it. That seems to have gone now because it's just there's football everywhere. You're trying to fit in the time to watch some games now. It's become more a sort of product that's forced down consumers' throats rather than the spectacle it should be. Ame is also quite right saying it's almost like I want to go back to that grassroots feel. For me, I've been feeling this way for a long time, where I'm almost at the brink of just walking away from all this Premier League lark. Just go and support my local team, Dorchester Town, because there's an honesty about it. Players are playing for the love of playing football there. Okay, the standard's a lot lower, but it's genuine. It means something. When you get the opposition fans coming around at the sort of non-league levels, there's a carnival type element to it that you don't get elsewhere. We had some coming down from I can't remember where it was, a couple of seasons ago. They're all dressed up in like dragon outfits and things, and it's like fancy parade in front of the home fans. We're all clapping and cheering them away. You don't get that at Premier League games. There's nothing like that. You might get it with the mascots, a little bit of fun, cheerleaders, a bit of fun, but but it's nothing like that. There's Amir's right. Football's kind of lost touch with the fans a bit. It's not a great thing anymore for me. It's really it's far too commercial, and half the feeling's gone out of the game. Then of course there's the likes of VAR as well on top of it. All the technology coming in. You can't just enjoy it for what it is. It's just it's really losing the plot as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Brian, do fans need to protest silly player wages?
Yeah, I'm like cool with this. It ain't going to happen. Yeah, it ain't going to happen. Do you know what? It would be nice to see all the fans protest together. But if you want to be really serious about all the fans protesting together, as soon as you get Tottenham and Arsenal or Liverpool and United, there'll be trouble. There will be trouble because I just don't think that it's gone too far now. I don't think they would just look at them and be like, well, that's very good. You like Cooper said, the banks and all these big wigs and whatever, they still get their big bonuses when their company's on the verge of collapse or the banks. The time to have done that would have been a good few years ago. So we're talking. Look, when I started, when Dimitar Berbatov was down, yes, the money was silly, but it weren't absolutely ridiculous. When we signed Dimitar Berbatov, we would say that people like Harry Kane would be on 200 grand a week. You'd be like, shut up.
Yeah.
And then you look at the people like Haaland that's coming in at like 400 grand a week or 500 grand a week. It's just ridiculous. You would never, ever, ever have thought that. That's the time to have done it. They should have had something implemented to say, right, okay. Or as soon as they saw these big owners coming in, obviously Abramovich was the first. They didn't see it. But then when you had Man City, PSG, and that's when they should have gone, right, we need to do something and act on it immediately. And they've missed the trick because they're in. They're in, so you can't stop them.
Yeah. Same question, Amir. Do fans need to protest silly wages? Or have we already lost?
Look, I'm a fighter in my nature, so I don't think we've lost. I don't think they can take football away from us in that way and just make it into a cash cow that keeps milking and not give it and not get anything back from it. So, what I'm trying to say there is that I think we need to, as fans, think of the issues that there are there with wages and see what can be done. Because part of the problem, right, is not just the wages, but it's the discrepancy in salaries between, you said, someone working a week and someone might not even make a tenth of that, who is, tending to your health, who is a carer, who is a nurse, who is a doctor, might be getting so much less. And that's not fair. That's not on. We can't live in a society where we put people on such pedestals that they're that important. Regardless if they're great at sport or singing or whatever talent they have, sure, they should be rewarded for that talent. But the issue is the discrepancy in salaries. If you're looking at what people can buy and what people can't, it's not fair to make people who, work super, super hard in public sectors and in private sectors and then not have enough to do anything about it. So I think fans have a role to play in it, Ben. Fans definitely have a role to play in it. You have a choice of how much money you want to put into your club, whether that's merchandise, tickets, going to the games, viewing the games. I do think we can kind of wrangle it back, but it will take a process and it will take, years. It will take, like you said, with the Super League kind of thing. That's not something we're going to see right now, but it's potentially something we'll see in 10, 15 years down the line. I think if people in the right positions step in and do think about something like a salary cap, because I do think that that's the only kind of thing that can stop it in its tracks at the moment. I think that's the way to go, because otherwise, what are we going to see? Where's it going to get to? I heard butters, certain butter is getting to 10 quid a tub in England at the moment.
That's the kilogram one now. So it's almost like a kilogram of butter is a lot of butter.
Yeah,
it's a lot of butter.
It's true, but these increases in prices are
crazy. It's mental.
It's all over the shop, it's all over the shop, and it's just not fair on the people that are paying the wages of these celebrities. That's sports people. At the end of the day, they wouldn't be where they are without the fans. So I definitely think there needs to be something done there to kind of stabilize the discrepancies.
Bob here's right. He's saying I miss the grandstand days too, Goof, but aren't we being a tad hypocritical by saying we're missing those days, but then talk about 60 million into the club, buddy? Yeah, of course we are. Our love for the club outweighs our need to stick to our principles. So yeah, it is hypocritical, but I mean, that's what undying love for your team does, really, isn't it? We overlook a lot, or we don't like a lot of it, but we put up with it because there's no choice. There is no other Tottenham Hotspur. So I think that's part of the problem as well, is ownership and people in charge of everything. They know that we're a captive audience in many ways, because you don't just give up your team willy-nilly. Well, most people don't anyway. We are the fish in the barrel, and we're just being abused for it. It's a bad situation to be in. Yes, we are hypocritical, but actually managing to affect change is going to be incredibly difficult. I think Ellie started touching upon the subject. About you boycott the games, boycott all the merchandise. But then it was the last part of what she said that was the prominent one for me, and that's boycott the TV, boycott buying subscriptions, things like that. As soon as that money dries up for the broadcasters, things will change very quickly, because those billions aren't going into the game then.
There you are, Kuva. There you are. So there's something fans can do alongside, other things that can be done to make that change. And I do think it's getting to that point. Like, I don't know what you guys feel about this one, but I'm not looking forward to this World Cup at all. This is a World Cup that I'm just.
I'm going to Disney World instead. I'm not even.
Yeah.
I'm joining Rez on because Rez is not watching the World Cup due to his views, and he's absolutely right to have those views. And his
big up, Rez. Yeah, big up, Rez.
Yeah. I literally don't give a shit because mostly, from my point of view, I don't really care about the England football team. I'd love to see England win a World Cup or challenge. But my bread and butter was always watching Tottenham. When I was growing up, and a lot of people know I suffer from ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease, Tottenham was my escape. That was the only thing I had to look forward to in the darkest days of my life was watching Tottenham. And they've now taken Tottenham away from me. They've taken it away for the sake of money. And where's it going to go? We're going to suddenly have World Cups in April, or they've now one of the things I've always seen in the property industry is if you have a covenant, if someone's broken a covenant, the covenant becomes stronger because you don't want to break it again. This won't happen in football because once the covenant's broken, the floodgates will open, and then they'll say, "Oh, we've already done it once, might as well do it again and again and again and again and milk it and milk it and milk it." But I now think football is now on a losing game, and I'm not looking forward to this World Cup at all because I like watching Tottenham. I don't really like watching England. I don't really like watching international football. International football's boring for me. Always has been. So I don't know what you guys' opinion is. Kauffie, are you looking forward to this World Cup, or are you in the same sort of?
I'm not going to waste my time watching it. It's just a joke to me.
Yeah.
Why the hell was it there in the first place? Well, a couple of brown envelopes, obviously. Pointless, bad timing for everybody. Horrendous conditions that workers are being put through to build the place. Everything about this World Cup for me stinks. Absolutely stinks. Should never happen. It might be boring that World Cups get hosted around the same countries again and again, but if we're going to have them, let's have them in the countries that properly cater for this kind of tournament. So you could be looking at the likes of America. If America can't host a World Cup tournament, then God help anybody else.
It should have been in England. I mean,
spread. There's nothing wrong with that plan. Like, spread it across a few European countries that are close by, is there? Like England, France, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. Just
it'd be brilliant. Football brings people together. So imagine how good that would have been for the World Cup to have been in the UK and Ireland. That would have been fantastic. Like
amazing.
It would have been absolutely brilliant for everyone. It'd bring people together instead of driving them apart. And it's really sad for, like for example, the Canadian fans. Canada hasn't been to a World Cup since. When was the last time Canada was in a World Cup?
1982.
Wow.
And this has spoilt the World Cup for these Canadian, because Canada fans who are on this fence with us are going to think, I have to watch Canada in a World Cup. This is a historic moment. For Wales fans, this is a historic moment for them, and it's been ruined. Imagine if it was in a very easily accessible country and yada, yada, yada. It's ruined it for them. So as Ian says, which is something I've got to talk to Brian about eventually, cannot wait for the 26th World Cup in Canada and North America. That is going to be a special, special World Cup, and I'm very much looking forward to that.
Oh, yes, I can. I mean, I cannot wait. Listen, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I will be watching the World Cup.
Yeah,
I will. I mean, I hate.
Everyone has their own views, and it's fantastic.
I hate what it stands for and everything, but I know for a fact if I said I'm not watching it, the very second I know England are playing, I'll be like, oh, you know what? I'll just do England, and then and then you put Canada in it, and I'm not going to miss Canada. Like you said, it's huge. I mean, for this country. It's massive. I mean, when I moved over here, I didn't know how big football was over here. It's amazed me at how big, especially the Premier League, how big football is over here, and it's gonna be big. I will be watching it because like I said, I actually think Canada are going to get out of the group. I don't think they get further than out of the group, but like I said before, there's always that one team when you look at a Cameroon back at 1990, a Senegal where they did it, a Turkey in 2002, a Ghana in South
Korea.
Africa, a Korea. There's always that one, and I'm telling you now, the Canadian team will be that one that will turn a few heads. I really, really, really think that. But yeah, I will be watching it. Hate what it stands for. I mean, at one point, I must admit, I thought it would be just typical. This is the one time Israel will qualify when it's in bloody Qatar. I was like, oh, here we go. This is when it's. And I even got to the point that if Israel did get there, I would have gone.
Yeah,
I would have gone if Israel were there for different. I would have been there. But yeah.
This is before I go to Amir on this. It's not like this is like the Brazil World Cup in 2014. It was magical, but how much has that World Cup improved the country? Zero. None of the money of the World Cup went to help the poverty, the awful stricken poverty that is a lot of Brazil with the favelas and all. So to say that this is a red herring, it's not. The Brazil World Cup, they're still complaining about it. It's a total white elephant. All the stadiums they built for it, a total white elephant.
Yeah.
And Lucas said, we've got no problem with the World Cup being stated. Absolutely, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. It's just, where does that money go to? The Brazil World Cup is the perfect example because Brazil is the home of football, in my opinion. Brazil is where football is magic. It's what all the kids growing up on favelas and in deep poverty, they see Ronaldinho, they see Neymar, and it's that they can drag themselves and their families out of poverty, and it's not helped. It's not helped at all. So we can't even go after Qatar because it's just as bad in Brazil or in the UK. It's not helping anyone. The Euros, how much did the Euros in the UK help the poverty in the UK? It didn't at all. So this is now a wider football issue. What do you think on this, Amir, in terms of how can they help out?
Well, first of all, they should have helped out by not holding it in Qatar. To be perfectly honest, it's not a footballing country. Aside from that, I could go into a lot of things, but I know you don't want to keep politics away, so I'm not going to get into all that. But there's been so many issues with this World Cup, and for me, it comes down to a couple of things. It comes down to one, the treatment of LGBTQ community. You know, we like to box people into all these communities and names and tags. They're just human beings, just like us. So, you know, that to me, that's the way I see it. That's one thing. And the workers' rights. You know, unfortunately, they were using a lot of migrant workers from India and Bangladesh, especially. And of course, the heat over there. So if we think it's hot out here in Israel, guys, over there it's 10 times worse. The whole country is a desert. And the heat, you know, it can get to the 50s even in the summer. And people were working in horrible conditions, long shifts in that kind of weather, with their passports being taken away, basically being stashed away, so they have no way to get home if they wanted to get home. I just think it's atrocious. And then you're going to see people, unfortunately, I'm going to name and shame him here, but people like Beckham, who took the money and who've been promoting this World Cup. It'll be him and his family over there, yeah, let's have a great World Cup. And you'll see all these celebrities flying out there, but not for me. Not for me. This one is going to be the first one I'm not gonna view. It's a real shame. Because I love the World Cup. I think it does unite people. It brings people together from all over the world. And that's what football does in general. It connects with people from all over the world. And for me, it's just very, very sad. Very, very sad winter. Especially, you know, it's ruining as well. Like you said, Ben, Spurs, what it means to you personally. Spurs have also helped me through some very, very dark times in my life. And messes up our season. I mean, who knows what it's going to do to the players in terms of injuries, in terms of their mindset, having a winter World Cup. It's just, to me, it's really ridiculous, really ridiculous. I can understand people that want to watch it, Brian. I understand, obviously. Like I'd love to watch it. I mean, England, USA, I'd like to watch. But
some fantastic games. It's going to be brilliant. But it's just like, but absolutely no animosity to anyone that watches it because it's football at the end of the day. For us to single out this World Cup would be hypocritical in itself because Brazil just as awful because of the stuff in Brazil and all the World Cups that have been in. We can't single out this World Cup because they're all awful in their own ways because none of them have helped out.
They all have their issues.
Yeah, it kind of there's similarities in other ways towards like the AFCON Cup.
Yeah.
In that I'm totally for them having the competition. I think it's a great idea.
It's fantastic.
But you've got to be realistic about some of these nations just don't have the ability to really host some of these games.
The infrastructure,
when you looked at some of the games, it was just ridiculous. So the standard of refereeing was horrific. Some of it was just so comical we couldn't believe what you were watching. Clearly, stands were not in sufficient ways. So, with all these tournaments, and let's include the World Cup, it's got to be done the correct way, the safest way, the most professional way. Otherwise, you're degrading the value of the sport on the whole. And as we're all going to agree that the World Cup should be about enjoyment. It's about meeting people from other nations. It's the coming together of everything in a friendly competition, and it's a magnificent thing. And it just feels like it's losing all of that lately. The corruption has absolutely damaged this sport. Sepp Blatter it's going to take a very long time before people start trusting the name FIFA again.
I don't think they ever will, Couv. I don't think they ever will.
Yeah, could be right, mate. Could be right.
I mean, that guy
also ties in with what I was saying earlier about saturation of football. For me, this World Cup, the reasons for it being there are wrong. The timing's wrong. The ability to host it in a sensible way is wrong. They might have some great stadiums, but you're still out there in an area that's not used to having football there as a sort of mainstay of everyday life. It could work out okay in that respect, but I have my doubts about it. I would prefer to see it done in a more established part of the world that's dealt with large-scale football tournaments before, and we know what's happening. There's no surprises going to sort of turn up. What happens in one of these big stadiums if heaven forbid that the ventilation cuts out? There's an electrical cut or something. The game's off then, isn't it? It's you'd be otherwise you're playing in an oven at that point. So there's big risks there, isn't there, involved? It's
huge.
You can't, like I said, it's planning ahead and making sure you are capable of hosting these tournaments. And I do not believe Qatar was ready for this at all. I've got nothing against football being played in the Middle East either, but
absolutely
as I said, just meet the standards. That's all you got to do.
Me neither, Couv. And more to it, I want to see more football in the Middle East, and I want to see more teams come over here to this part of the world. But if they had done it in a way where there was like a Middle Eastern World Cup and they'd spread it over a few different countries that have had some more experience hosting bigger events, I'd be way more down for that. Let's say if the UAE were involved and maybe a couple of other countries here in the region, that would be fantastic. That'd be fantastic. But the fact that they went for the brown envelopes, and I know, Couv, you said it was a couple, I reckon it was a couple dozen brown envelopes. That was what got the deal done. That's what got it signed, sealed, and delivered. And since then, unfortunately, we've been watching this kind of process develop. And like I said, I would love. There's nothing more than I would love to watch this World Cup. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting for me even to go there. I'd love to visit Qatar, the country, and visit and see what it's about. But unfortunately, it just won't be happening.
Bob's put a good point in saying, will you, Amir and Kuva refuse to watch Man City and Newcastle games next year? I'm not refusing to watch the World Cup. I'm just not interested in it. That's why I'm not watching it, purely because I'm just not interested. I'm not on that bandwagon because it's not. I don't want to physically, because for me, refusing to watch something is me being closed-minded. It's not because I'm open to other people's cultures. I want to see. I want to meet. I've got friends from all over the world, whether they're from Qatar. I've met plenty of people from Qatar. Being a barista in London, I've met people from Qatar, Saudi, everywhere. So me being closed-minded to the World Cup would be bad news on me, because as long as we're willing to be open-minded, we can improve the world. I don't know what you boys think on this subject, but I'm not watching the World Cup just because I'm not interested in World Cup football anymore. I'm not doing this for any geopolitical reasons, because that would be shit on me, because that's not my MO. What's your opinion on this comment by Mr. Bob Coover? We'll go around the table again.
Well, it's back to the hypocrisy again, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would happily walk away, except for I'm emotionally attached to Tottenham Hotspur. And that's going to make me take interest in other teams playing in the Premier League because of it. Yeah. I wish I could walk away from it, but I can't. I just love the club. It's been too much of my life. So I'm a hypocrite, and I have to bear the burden of that. That's just
everyone's a hypocrite. Really. If all of us, if someone isn't a hypocrite, I'd like to know who they are, because they're a hypocrite. They're a hypocrite for not being a hypocrite. I think especially though, teams I would love to completely ignore would be Man City and Newcastle. Yeah. Mr. Brian, Chelsea as well.
Well, I don't think I really got a reaction here, because I was the one that said I would watch the World Cup. So, I will be watching Man City versus Newcastle, and yeah, that's all I really got to say. It's interested to hear what Amir says. Yeah, Amir.
So yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, and I think you're right there, Ben. We are all hypocrites, because I will sit down and watch Man City Newcastle next season if it's on, and if I'm not working and whatnot, I'll definitely whack that on. It's a real catch-22 with regards to some of these regimes, the owners. You know, I'm not against any country or any person from a country, but there are certain things that happen within countries that I can't condone. And even where I am, unfortunately, there are things that I can't condone. So for me, it's a real catch-22 of what do you do to improve the situation? How do you now leverage the fact that Saudis own Newcastle? How can you leverage that for a better kind of life and peace and business between the two countries? Having to understand each other's, differences culturally, right? To us, it looks very, very barbaric, some of the laws that they have over there and have had, even though they have been trying to modernize recently, and women have been allowed to drive over there and stuff like that. And do I think that them owning a club like Newcastle could help bridge the gap culturally? Possibly. It also depends on what the people in those countries then want for their future. But it's a very, very tricky situation. It's a very tricky situation that we've been put in, and the whole football world's been put in by allowing the Saudi takeover. And obviously people are still very upset about Khashoggi in Turkey and what they did to him in the embassy, which must be spoken about, because it was just a journalist who was basically killed for being against his government. Basically, so it's a very tricky one what Bob's actually putting out there. What I would hope is that we get over the kind of sports washing phase of where they think that these regimes are just coming to buy clubs to sports wash you into thinking they're good. No, let's try and understand why they've bought the clubs, what they're trying to do, and what we can do as individuals to try and help those places, those countries, those people. I say this a lot on my podcast, but a lot of the people that suffer because of war and because of conflict and because of strict regimes, we don't seem to quite grasp, because we live in countries that have such freedom and such abundance of letting you say whatever you want to say. We don't realize what it's like to be in a place. I today was speaking to an ex Soviet woman who's been living in Israel for a long time now, but telling me in Russia it's no games. You say something against, you're gone. And people need to realize the reality and realize that change is a process that will take time. And we need to be aware of it, understand the issues, and try and work on them one by one. Really, that'd be my take on it.
It's a great answer. Luca is perhaps for security reasons, World Cup had to be held in one country. I mean, it's probably correct, isn't it? Possibly.
I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know. Yeah, who knows? I don't know. I would say I don't know.
I suppose the obvious reply to that would be just try and picture the whole area having no borders, and you just look at the grounds on the individual merit. It'll be no different to having it in one country, just spread apart grounds. Same process for all of them, I would have thought.
A few hundred years ago, there were no countries here as well. All this Qatar, Saudi Arabia, these are all kind of new inventions.
That's a whole different situation, which we won't get into. Carl's brought an interesting question. I'm going to answer this because it's, for me, this question. I've got asked this question a lot, being in this community, and we always get asked this question: what would happen if Tottenham got taken over by a regime like this? It wouldn't happen because a team from that part of the world, a regime from that part, or PIF, or a company like that, they would see Tottenham as the Jewish club and they wouldn't want to take it over. So it wouldn't happen. Just period. It just wouldn't happen. So that's why. And obviously Daniel Levy won't sell to them because he's already not sold to Abramovich. So why would he sell to people like this? So that, for me, it's a red herring. On a happier note, we'll end the stream on a happier note because this is an incredible thing. I'm really happy about this, and we need to absolutely big up the women's game. Same way, 75,000 capacity crowd at Old Trafford yesterday for the England women's game. Kuva, how important is this for the women's game to see numbers like this? And can it continue?
Well, yeah, obviously you've got to have big occasions to make a big sport big. So 75,000 crowd, that's incredible. Yeah. In the men's game, that's still a hell of a size crowd. So that is no mean feat by any stretch of the imagination. So good to see that they're doing well. Me personally, I'm not a big fan of women's football. Got nothing against it. It just doesn't have quite the same vibe for me. I know. I know plenty of women that will feel the same way as well. There is a bit of a difference in the standards or the type of power or aggression involved in both games. I'd say women are probably the women's game seems to be a bit fairer from what I've seen in general. A few dodgy characters in some of them, but yeah, it's just healthy that if you're running a football club and you want to appeal to everybody, the women's game should matter just as much, shouldn't it?
Big time.
It's magical that it's getting. I've always said I would happily go to women's football matches if it was in my season ticket. When I buy a season ticket for Tottenham Hotspur, which I do every year, women's games should be included. And one of the things that always annoys me is Tottenham women's team don't play in Tottenham. They play in they're playing in Barnet, and they're playing at Barnet next year as well, right? Or they play. No, they're not playing at the Hive next year. They're playing. They might be playing at Leyton Orient's ground next year. Tottenham women's football should be played in Tottenham because they only play really 1 or 2 games a year, and it's against the big teams, and then we lose every time because the team are not suited to the pitch. They're used to playing at the Hive. So I always think that women's football, the Tottenham women's team, should be playing at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and it should be included because I would happily watch it. Because football is football for me. It's an escape from reality, like we were talking about the movies. The movies thing. Football is an escape. and more football to improve the women's game would be fantastic. And
I think this is the other side of the coin as well on the saturation of football part, because if we didn't have all the TV coverage that we have nowadays, the women's game would have been struggling to promote itself, and
that's true.
Done very successfully.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, there's it's always a more complicated subject than just black and white on most things, isn't it?
Definitely.
Brian, what's your view on this?
It's fantastic. It's fantastic for the women's game and what it's bringing. I remember my first when I was at school. There was a girl. She actually used to play for Spurs. She passed away, unfortunately, a few years later. But her name was Lucinda, and she used to play football with us, and she was absolutely outstanding. And I mean, like top quality. And that's back when football in the women playing football was like, oh my God, you're a girl that plays football. Oh my God. And to see where it's gone to now, it is outstanding. And it's seeing families there, and now it's bringing young women into the game. It's getting women to support. And let's face it, it can now help you find a wife that's got a love of football, which I wish I had done. So yeah, it can only be positive. And the fact that, like Kauffie said, they filled out Old Trafford. It doesn't matter what event is going on there. If you sell out Old Trafford, you've done bloody well.
Yeah.
And long may it continue.
Yeah. Amir, your take on this?
100% agree with Kauffie and Daigle here. I think it's fantastic for the sport, fantastic for women's football. And to be honest, I can see them bringing home some silverware before the men, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
So come on, the Free Lions, the ladies. I'd love to see them bring home some silverware and show the lads how to do it.
It's brilliant. So the Hottest Spur, great comments, the Hottest Spur. Great stuff. Love the World Cup of old. Maradona, Bobby Moore, Beckenbauer. That's football at its greatest. I miss those players. Magical. Harry Maguire tweeting out, atmosphere was better than it was at United games. Says everything about where the club is right now and him. The fact that it's a surprise shouldn't be a topic. It's crazy that, isn't it? It's crazy. I mean, to be fair, it is an international thing, and United are awful. So no wonder it was so much nicer. Atmosphere at Old Trafford would probably be better without Maguire on the pitch. Absolutely, I 100% agree. Except when it's at Tottenham, and it's amazing because he's a fridge. Maguire is a tool, and Ronaldo wanting to leave has put De Jong off. It's brilliant. Couldn't as much as Bob says he's got a soft spot for them because of, which I actually agree with in terms of. He saw where United were, and that's where he wanted Tottenham. I wouldn't call that a soft spot. I would see that's called aspiration for your football team, rather than that being a soft spot. Big up, Eugene. Big up, sir. Big up, big up. And he says back Conte, of course. Harry Maguire can only hear the Man United fans. Get off the pitch, Maguire. Absolutely. Best elbow I got in football was from a woman. She hit me so hard accidentally and broke my nose. Oh, yeah. Happy for the Lionesses. As Sean Locke said, come on the women, rest his soul. Big up, Sean Locke. Miss that guy.
Yeah.
Legend.
That's it. Also swearing at Maguire, burning his hits. That's brilliant. We need to bring on something light-hearted. We've had a bit of a...
It's been a good chocolate stream, this one.
Yeah,
it's been very good.
Out of all the chocolate streams I've done, this is by far the best one.
To be fair, it wasn't a chocolate stream. It just says in the title, Happy World Chocolate Day.
True.
This is what's called improvising when you've got no lemons. When you don't have lemons, you cannot make lemonade, so you might as well talk football.
It's like the biggest, it's like an edition of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
Well, the one more thing I will say on the ladies' game. When I was growing up, and you mentioned ladies' football, it was always don't care. The greatest compliment I can say now is that I've gone from a point of not caring, won't watch, to I'll watch a few games.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter as much as me to the men's game, but I will watch it now. It's improved. It's become something worth spending a bit of time on nowadays.
And it's a massive a big up to her game too, with people like our friend Lovely Kirst, they're paving the way. Ellie, Kirst, and all the people in that organisation, they're paving the way. So they're changing people's minds. Not so much they're getting people to love the women's game as much as the men's game. Because at the end of the day,
also, would you say there's my perception certainly is that fans are better fans with the female or with the ladies' game. We get a lot of us, myself included, will slag off the team or will slag off certain players for doing things. Seems to be way more positive in the ladies' game, especially amongst the fans to me. But wonder if that's what everybody else has been seeing as well.
I mean, it'll get to a point where women's football is the same as men's football. Maybe maybe it would be colourblind. It's like no matter if you're watching the men's team and the women's team, it's going to be banter, it's going to be aggression, it's going to be tribal, and that's what we love about football at the end of the day. It's what I think people love about football, is that sense of belonging in your community and supporting your community until you can really.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna. I can only see an up for the women's game, so big up to the women. I'd love to see some Tottenham women's games. They need to put it on the season ticket. I think that Mr. Levy.
That's a really good idea, mate.
I would happily watch it if they did, because the idea of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is you can play a football game in the morning and then watch NFL in the evening. Just do that with football. Have a women's game at 1:00 and the men's game at 3:00, like as it used to be, because it doesn't take long to fix the pitch.
We just need to find a way of fitting in a cricket pitch, an ice skating rink, and some basketball courts, and we're pretty much covered there.
That's basically
with a Grand Prix track encircling everything.
I mean, they want to do that anyway. Might as well make it a football stadium, but of course, the ownership of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club don't care about football, which is why they've not spent on the pitch in 21 years. So yeah, I mean, absolutely, put it on the season ticket. Would you go, Brian? Let's say you lived in the UK.
Yep.
Women's football was on the season ticket as well. Would you go? I would happily go weekly to watch. Some games might not go, but I'd go to a lot of the games, especially if it's a game.
In all honesty, my sister's a big lover of football. She's a huge lover of football. I took her to her first Spurs game. Obviously, she doesn't get to go a lot now because of the 5 kids. So she's got a real interest in it. So I'll probably say to her, there you go, you have a ticket. Not because I don't want it, just because I don't think I would go. And obviously, everyone knows how much Ilana has had to put up with, and lets me like dive into football world and streams and go to Scotland Yard. If I say, guess what, darling? Now I get to go to all the women's games as well. I'm off. She'll be like, well, don't come back. It's not a case of I'd probably want to go to like Spurs Arsenal just because it's Spurs Arsenal. And I probably would go if I had nothing to do. I would say, yeah, but I wouldn't say, right, now I've got this, I'm going to go to every single one of them.
You have to go. It's you want to go. Having to go to something is not fun. Like, you want to go to something. Like, wanting and having to. If you have to do anything, it's no longer fun for me. That's when the sport dies.
True.
You don't have to watch Tottenham. You watch Tottenham because you want to watch Tottenham. That is your bread and butter. What's your opinion on this, Amir, in terms of if you live, let's say you lived in the UK and you had a Tottenham Hotspur season ticket that included the men's game and the women's game, would you go? I would go to a lion's share of the games.
I would be taking my nieces down to the match whenever I could, whenever I was available. My cousin used to play for Spurs ladies, under 11s or 12s or whatever it was when she was young. And I just think it's a great way of getting people into the game and bringing them down to watch a match and get some of the atmosphere, get behind your team. The fact that it's women, to me, doesn't make a difference at all. And if it was part of the season ticket, I'd be going down there for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And getting behind the team. And I fully agree, it should be at the stadium. We shouldn't be messing around with Leyton Orient or wherever you said it was, Ben.
Yeah, it's Leyton Orient, yeah. I mean, I just think it's a joke. I think it's a total joke. And I love playing for Spurs Lady. I played at the old White Hart Lane. It was the highlight of my career. I also played at Wembley and White Hart Lane, much better. It's Tottenham Hotspur play in Tottenham, not at Brisbane Road, not at the Hive. Yeah. They play in Tottenham, and this needs to change. It absolutely
that really would make a big difference to the sort of, is the word presentation the right word, but the draw for watching, because it's so, like you said, Ben, it's right, it's all encompassing. It's Tottenham Hotspur. You go there to watch the Spurs team, whether it's the men or the women, or even the youth team, of course the academy as well. Just it would be lovely. That's all on your season ticket, all encompassing. It'd make a lot of sense.
Insane, he would go with the women as well, more inclusive, and you can meet them and get more involved. It's like football of old. One of the things whenever I talk with Hollywood Phil, big up Hollywood Phil, he was at a Tottenham game when he saw it was one of the Allen brothers. And he said, all right, Alan. He said, yeah, he had a chat with him. That's what football used to be. You used to meet the players. The players they were almost your representative of like on the pitch. That they need to bring that back. When was the last time you met a Premier League footballer and had a proper conversation? That's a good conversation to have, actually. But first, our domestic women's football, although growing very well, doesn't have the following right now. But it's changing very quickly, rapidly. It's definitely, sadly, a million marks. It's getting there.
It's getting there. And I'd like to say to Bob as well, you just have to look at how well the WNBA has done.
Yeah.
The WNBA has been a huge success over in America. And I think that if we implement some certain aspects of what they did over there in terms of marketing and funds, if we go that way with the women, I can see it just growing and growing. I mean, out of my two sisters, one of them loved football, and she was very talented as well when she was younger. She loved playing the game. And I can even remember in primary school, when I used to play in the playground, there was one girl who always used to come and play with us, and she was better. She was way better than some of the guys that we were playing with, and it was just it was nice. It was nice to have like a little mixed kick around in the playground. Good stuff.
I mean, this comment from Alexander Hilton is my point exactly. The last time I actually had a conversation with a top-level footballer that's currently playing was when England were playing I'm going to say it's 2009, and Fabio Capello was the England manager. That's how long ago it was. I don't know.
Just for you.
Simba!
Hey.
Oh. Is it a he or a she, Daigle?
It's Simba. The
Simba.
Original, the real Lion King.
Man, so beautiful, that one.
He's incredible. I'm a dog person. I'm completely a dog person. And my dream dog is a Rottweiler, and I will have it one day. My mum had cats all the time. Ilana loves cats. Cats I get on with. But this cat has hypnotized me. I'm obsessed with him.
I'm telling you, cats are the one, Daigle. Cats are the one. Dogs are all right. I'm not against dogs. I'm not against them, but cats are the one.
I've never had to go picking up after my cat on a walk. That's what puts me off about dogs. It's the only reason. Otherwise, I'm with you, Brian. I'd love Dobermans. I'm not Dobermans. Rottweilers. They're just such a bad reputation, and they are the most soppy, loving dogs I've met.
I'll tell you a little something. The reason I became obsessed with Rottweilers is, you remember back when I was about 10, so we were 33 years ago, when it all started kicking off with Rottweilers, pit bulls, and what they were doing. My babysitters that my parents had for me and my sister, their son used to have did have a Rottweiler, and brought the Rottweiler into the house. And I was like, "What are you doing? Oh my God!" And it was under its leash and everything. He said, "Brian, you don't need to be scared of these because it's the way they're trained, not them." Yeah. I was like, "Okay," and they're like, "Do this." And I was like, "No, I'm not doing that to a Rottweiler. It'll eat my bloody shoulder." He said, "Trust me, just do it." I did that. It got off its hind legs, just cuddled me and started licking me. And I was like, right, that's it. And ever since then, I have been obsessed with them. They're the most magical creatures.
Bloody Carl. Bloody
there
Carl.
We go.
I don't know how a chocolate stream went into all these different topics, but I'm absolutely all for it. The final question is, firstly, Kuva, who are you going to big up this week on the channel? You're bigging up a different channel every week. or every day even, because we're streaming here every day.
Every hour.
Every
Um,
hour.
yeah. I'm bigging up none of the channels this time. I'm just going to big up football, women's football,
Yeah.
non-league football, all the little clubs and everything.
Big them all
Get
out.
out there and give them a bit of support.
That's
Great
it.
stuff. What are you doing at the end, the rest of the week for Tottenham on Tour, Brian? I know I ask you this question every day because it's an everyday show, but what's happening on Tottenham on Tour?
Stay tuned. There may be something going live in the next hour or so.
Oh,
There may be something. Me and Brian haven't done a stream recently because he's just got. Oh, I was in England, obviously. Then he went to California, so he got back Tuesday. So there is a very good chance in the next hour and a bit, Tottenham on Tour will be going live. It could be we don't know yet. It could be us Ask Us Anything. It could be a fan show. We might have a fan show actually. That's the one that's leading at the moment.
yeah.
We'll have a general chat and then put the stream in. So anyone wants to watch that, feel free to come on. And yeah, like I said, there is lots, and I do mean lots of new stuff coming from Tottenham on Tour. There will be a lot more regular content. Some really new and interesting things we're doing. So yeah, keep your eye on Tottenham on Tour because it's going to be a big season for us.
Keep an eye out. And Mr. Amir, a channel that's very close to my heart, especially with an actual channel that's actually trying to change the world and do it in the proper way and bring people together. What is happening on the Open Peace podcast in the next few weeks? What is happening, Amir?
So we are hopefully going to get a few guests on, some interesting guests that we always try to find people that are going to, speak their mind and not be afraid to come out against some of the kind of status quo things over here. So yeah, we've got a few shows lined up. One of my team members, Abu, just got married, so he's going to be off on his honeymoon. So we're going to wait for him to get back from his honeymoon to start filming again. But yeah, I'm just doing what I can do, Ben. To be honest, there's so many other people here in the Holy Land, and that's why I want to give people some hope, because there are so many amazing people over here on the Israeli side, on the Palestinian side, that are really trying to make things work, that are really doing their best in their individual lives to try and make the situation better. But you'll never hear about them on the newspaper or on BBC or on you just won't, because it doesn't sell. It's not interesting to people to know about coexistence in a town like Neve Shalom, or coexistence between groups that come together and do projects together on the land. You just won't hear about it. So that's why I think people should definitely come over, check out what we're doing, and give some love to the people out there working what I would say for not just charities, but working from their soul, doing what they feel is needed to be done. And I feel like the podcast it all fell into place a couple of years ago, and we're just going to keep going, keep plugging away, keep trying to have an influence, and keep trying to promote peace, because to me that needs to be the goal. At the end of the day, what do we have all these countries and governments and armies, and if we're not living peacefully side by side together? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Simba doesn't like this, apparently.
Maybe we need Simba to come and help out on the podcast.
Yeah.
Just put Simba in the Middle East and it will cure peace.
Mate, bring him over. Next time you're over, Daegu, bring him over.
So a massive big up to everyone that appeared today. A massive big up to everyone that enjoyed the chat, for being great. No toxicity. We've had a great stream today. Thank you all so much for watching. We will be back tomorrow at 3:30 for Paul Stewart Fridays, is when Bob comes over and turns the most chill stream on the planet to In the Wall Light, which is basically going to be in the wall, because In the Wall is...
I wouldn't say light.
It's In the Wall Light. In the Wall Light. So join us all tomorrow for 3:30 for Paul Stewart Fridays. I don't know what the challenge is. I don't know what Bob is saying. Bob's final comment, as I say, pussy solves everything. Thank you all so much for watching the stream. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And as always, if you smell what the cough is brewing.